What is the one major move that's still out there that the Broncos can and should make in free agency? I'm going to tell you coming up next. What is the name? What is the move that the Broncos can make? Well, they've hit a home run so far, right? Evan Ingram starting tight end, Dre Greenlaw starting inside linebacker. Those two positions they have ignored since they were winning Super Bowls way back in 2016. And then, of course, Hufanga, who was added from San Francisco to come back and be in the secondary along with Brandon Jones. They've hit a home run. A+ for the Broncos in free agency. But don't you want an A++, right? You get to go home and show your parents. Look at how many pluses are on that report card. There's a name out there that can make this Broncos free agency from an A+ to an A+++, and they could still load up in the draft. I'm talking about running back, and I'm talking about running back JK Dobbins. JK's still out there. He's a free agent. He had a pretty dang good season a year ago with the Los Angeles Chargers, and he did so in 13 games. We go over a couple of numbers from J.K. Dobbins a year ago. And keep in mind that it's in 13 games where he wasn't even in some of the games back one. He was 1A or 1B in whatever instance Jim Harbaugh had rolling. But even in the 13 games, he rushed for 907 yards, I think was the total number. 905 yards was the total number. He also added another 153 yards throughout the air. So we're talking north of 1,000, missed 4 games. And you want to know what's even better about all of this? He's not going to break the bank. He has a total of career earnings of $7.8 million. That's total. He's only 26 years old, so he hasn't been in the league forever. The running back market, it dried up over the last couple of years. It's starting to pop back a little bit, but this dude's not going to break the bank. By the way, it's the middle of March. We're getting towards the end of March. So he is on the third wave. He's not going to cost you much. And the Broncos, what makes this even better is they've got the dough to do it. Overthecap.com. Great website, great resource. I use it a lot. If you're out there trying to, throw your GM hat on and figure out how much money your favorite NFL team has, it's a great resource for you. Overthecap.com has the Broncos at about $15.6 million. They also tell you that you need to save anywhere between $7 and $9 million for your incoming draft class. All right, well, shout out to North Glen High School. I can do the math there. You're still going to have, even at the high end, about $6 million to play with. And guess what you can get JK Dobbins for? About $6 million. You tell JK Dobbins and his agent, hey, you're 26 years old. The team that you just had a lot of success with, and I would call over 1,000 yards in 13 games a lot of success. Would you? How would you not? Wouldn't you say, so that team you just had all that success with, they don't want you back? Why don't you come on over here to this team in this division where we're going to play them twice a year and you can show them exactly what they were missing out on. The revenge factor, it's always a factor, right? Like, well, don't you want to stunt on your ex when you're walking to that party with that new little thing on your arm? That's what the Broncos could be doing with J.K. Dobbins. By the way, he's only 26 years old, as I mentioned. So you give him the 2-year deal. You guarantee the $6 million up front. So it's essentially just a 1-year deal. And you still, with the 20th overall pick, with the 51st overall pick, with the 85th overall pick, you pick your poison wherever you want to do it. You still draft a running back. Can you imagine what the Broncos running back room looks like if they take the 20th selection and use it on Amari and Hampton, and they've signed to J.K. Dobbins in the offseason? We're going to go from a running back room with Javonte Williams that thinks he's an East and West runner, and he's certainly not that. Jaleel McLaughlin, who can't break a shoestring tackle on anybody. Audric Estime, who was a rookie with high hopes and then literally fumbled his opportunity away, to J.K. Dobbins, a guy that can get you north of 1,000 on the ground and then add a few hundred through the air, plus Amari and Hampton, the rookie running back who's going to be very cheap at 20 and at that position and under team control for 4 years. We're talking about a 1,000,000-time upgrade in the running back room. And by the way, you still have a guy like Blake Watson that can come and fight for a roster spot and see what he can do. Audric Estime would be in the same boat, come and fight for a roster spot and see what you could do. I think this is a no-brainer. I don't quite understand why J.K. Dobbins is still out there. Now, that might mean that he and his agent are asking for too much money, and there's not a lot of teams that are going to pay for a running back, especially now that we're at this third wave of free agency? Or could it be some injury history, which I totally get? But guess what? Hufanga has injury history. Dre Greenlaw has injury history. Broncos fans, you're smart. All Denver sports fans are smart. But you know the name Bo Lowry, right? If you don't, go watch Sean Payton's end of season press conference where he was dunking all over the old trainer and giving a lot of love to Bo Lowry. The Broncos' injury history since Bo has come aboard, man, it's gotten good, top in the NFL as far as games missed. So they're reliant upon already their training staff making a guy like Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga better just based on availability. Why can't you do the same with JK Dobbins? You steal opponents' best running back. You address something that you haven't addressed for a handful of years. I know you drafted Javonte and that looked like to be an answer, and then his knee blew up all over the place. But you haven't had a JK Dobbins type in a very, very long time. So I think it is absolutely a no-brainer. So check this out. Just to further this picture that I'm trying to paint here. You add JK Dobbins. You still draft Omarion Hampton at number 20. You've added Evan Ingram. Let's say at 51, that's their second round pick, or at 85, which is their third round pick. I still think you're in the business of drafting a tight end. Can I interest you in a Terrence Ferguson in the third round? Or perhaps it is at number 51. Terrence Ferguson, kid from Colorado, a kid that played college football at Oregon with Bo Nix. I'm a little hesitant there because the Troy Franklin relationship didn't exactly pan out. But what about Gunnar Helm? There's another guy with some Colorado ties. What about Harold Fannin Jr., who's from a smaller university but can hang with the big dogs in college football, which means the skill set will translate to that of the NFL level. So we could be talking about, when we get to April's draft, they've added Evan Ingram, Greenlaw, Hufanga. In my case here, then they add J.K. Dobbins, and you still go get a rookie running back that's the future player at that position. You still go get a rookie tight end that's the future at that position. And Evan Ingram's only 30. J.K. Dobbins is only 26. But now you have guys right now, and then you have guys that can help you win from now on with these rookie players. You know what else it would do for that tight end? Now with Omarion Hampton, that's plug and play. He comes in, he pops, he plays, he contributes right away. But a tight end, a young Terrence Ferguson, a Gunnar Helm, a Harold Fannin Jr., Elijah Arroyo from Miami there, whatever your favorite tight end is, there's no wrong answers here. That gives them the luxury and timeline to properly be developed. And I'm looking at developing players in the Sean Payton era as about, let's call it a year and a half, a year and 8 weeks, a year and 10 weeks of football world. And you know why I'm using that? Because that's exactly what it took for Marvin Mims. Remember, Marvin Mims was selected in the second round. It was the Sean Payton, George Payton first pick together. And then Marvin Mims was pretty disappointing in year one. The team was disappointing in year one. But in the second year, you go to week 9, week 10, when he started to become mini Joker, if you will. And we saw him line up in the backfield. We've seen him in pre-snap motion, take some reverses, just have little pop passes go his way. They found a way to use Marvin Mims, but it took about that year and a half. So I'm going to use that as a timeline because that's the only example I have with Sean Payton as the head coach. So if that's the case, Evan Ingram, J.K. Dobbins, you're the right now, but a Terrence Ferguson, again, whoever the tight end, your choice that you like, you don't put a ton of pressure on that player to go, hey, we need you desperately right now in year one to come and be a top tier NFL tight end. It's a lot of pressure on a kid. And by the way, Brock Bowers and Kyle Pitts, they've been the only first round tight ends in the last 15 years to have 1,000 receiving yards in their rookie year. So it's not like these things just grow on trees, you pluck them, and then they catch balls worth 1,000 yards. That's not how it goes. So you could give a guy a little bit of a runway, right? Give him a ramp-up period. Maybe it isn't a full year and a half. Maybe Terrence Ferguson is more NFL ready than some of these tight ends that have in the past. But there wouldn't be that pressure, immediate pressure on a tight end to actually show up and perform. So I think I have a great plan Broncos country, what say you? Love to hear from you in the comment section here. I'll circle back and come and have a conversation with you while you're here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to everything we're doing. Mile High Hoops, Mile High Hockey, the Orange and Blue podcast. We have all kinds of things going on the Denver Sports page, and we'd love for you to be involved. So, final thoughts here. Go get JK Dobbins. The Broncos have the money. He's still out there and available, and you'd be doing two things with the addition of J.K. Dobbins. He'd be the best running back that the Broncos have had in 5-6 years as far as production goes. Plus, you get to stick it to the Los Angeles Chargers and Jim Harbaugh. Who's got it better than us? We do, Jim, because we're going to steal your quarterback and bring J.K. Dobbins to Denver. This has been Dover on Denver, and now I'm done.